Hey guys, it's Dawn here, and I'm gonna do the Rogers thermal fix thing on my EX30 right now. I've already taken the cover of the foam cover off. That is just 4 little screws into the foam. These little screws over here. So you had, you had 2 at the tail over here, and then 1 on this side over there, and 1 on this side over here. So here's your top, so you can orient yourself. But take those off. So these screws are a little bit different because it has a little silicone washer thingy on it as well. So you know that those will go onto this plastic cover. And that's easy to remember because just think, this plastic cover, you want something nice and soft so it doesn't crack the plastic. So that's what that little silicone washer thingy is for, I think. I don't know. I'm basically just making all this stuff up as I go. And then, okay, so that was 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift this top part off. And, as Marty pointed out, this, and then you just, ta-da. It's really nice because this overhangs over the motherboard tray, and so that helps keep water dripping from above from getting in here. And then you've got those little silicone washers as well to keep the water from going into the screw holes and stuff. So yeah, this is pretty good. Then you have your little foam piece. You just gently lift that off, and now we have, ta-da, all access. Look how easy that was. So before I did all this, I did turn him on, make sure that he turned on, he balances, and it's all good. That way it's just something that I always do, because that way I know that if something was wrong, I know for certain that it was something that I did at this time. All right, you come out. Oh, these, once again, these stupid little things that always pop out. So this time I'm going to remove both of them, put them in my little makeup case so I don't lose them. All right, so this is the guy that I want to get out. Come on. Oh, I twisted him in there. There we go. So I like that they did it this way because this is so much easier to undo him now. So I'm going to, so this is your main power thing. This is the one that is actually important to disconnect. And I am so afraid I'm going to do this and I'm going to knock my whole camera out. There we go. All right, so this is now disconnected. Oh. I'm trying not to block the camera so you guys can see. So that little screw, I want to put this one over here so I remember that that's this one. And that way, this can now come out, and this I can now move because this is pretty tight. All right. And you've got a long screw here. Then this one over here, and now you guys are actually in my way, but it's okay. All right, so we took out this one, and then the next 2 are going to be down here. This one, let's see if you can see this. I think I need to come up a little bit. All right, can you see this? This one over here, it is next to these little thingies over here. And here is one, and here is the other one. And I just realized that I didn't plug in my microphone, so you guys are going to have good audio again. I apologize for that. All right, so these ones are going to be medium-sized screws. These are the first time we're seeing the medium-sized screws. medium-sized screws. All right, there we go. I undid the display cable over here. So I am going to take these ones off just because there's my taillight cable as well. So these two are little screws and they are on the center here. These two screws, the only thing they do is hold the display onto the motherboard. But I am not able to get to my tail light. It's very tight in here, not a lot of space to work. So this way I can lift my display off. I unplugged the display cable off of here. Now I can lift my whole display off, and now I have access to my, so here, this was the display cable over here, and this cable right here was what was holding this whole thing down and I'm making it so I was not able to get in there. And this is my tail light cable. So I need to disconnect this tail light cable. Let me make sure that everything is, I don't break anything. There we go. All right, so this tail light cable was holding everything down. My the display cable goes into here, and now I should be able to lift up. Let's see. I'm gonna tuck you in somewhere. There, you hold. All right, let's lift you up. There we go. All right. So now what you'll see is what I did, you'll see thermal paste in here as well. What I did was I saw that there was, let me put these washers away. I saw that there was the thermal mat on there, and I saw where there was the oil stains that showed that the mat had the same problem where there wasn't it wasn't contacting the center properly. And so, but there were also these extra little holes, and I didn't know what to do with them. So I wasn't quite sure what to do. So what I did was I just put on a dab of the thermal paste on there and just put it all back down and put it all together again until I could figure out what to do. So hold on, I'll show you. Okay, so here we go. You see how there's hole there, I don't know, hole there, hole there, hole there, holes. There's like all these extra little holes. And so I didn't want to put a whole bunch of thermal paste and have it go down these holes and cover the holes, and I wasn't sure. Now, another thing I wanted to point out is that this thermal mat is so much thinner than the thermal mat on the Masters. So that is technically a good thing because you want the thermal mat to be as thin as possible, but it still wasn't having the right contact. So you see how there's the oil stain here on all corners, just like on the Masters? So the oil stains show when you compress the thermal mat, it has an oil in it, and so some of that oil will come out, and then you see these oil stains. And when it doesn't compress down, then it doesn't leave an oil stain. So if it's not compressed down enough, then there's chance of bubbles. And there were a lot of air bubbles on that thermal mat. So now, let's see, my job will be to clean this up a little bit, and I don't have to remove all of the thermal paste. I can actually scrape all the thermal paste on here. I do want to cover the holes. I'm going to cover the holes with some clay, and just so that when I do spread and I'm putting the pressure on there, that it's not going to ooze all down the hole and create some kind of problem, which probably won't, but anyways, just to be on the safe side. Now, I swear, this whole process does not take a lot of time at all. It is super quick and easy to get into the wheel, and then this whole process is actually really quick and easy. It's just slower on camera because I'm talking and I'm moving the camera and trying to show you guys stuff, and I'm also trying, I don't know, I don't multitask that great. So I wanted to show you how thin this thermal mat is. Just like a lot thinner, a lot thinner than the master one. Anyways, okay, that's enough looking at this thermal paste. Is this clean? Let me see. Clean off a little bit more around these edges. This is silicone. All right, so that's good. Now I wanted to fill up these holes, and I have a little bit of clay. This is just my daughter's, it's like, you know, a little, I don't know, clay thing. And let's fill up. I'm just going to stuff them into these holes, if that'll work, because it's something that I can stuff into the hole, and it's inert, and it's not going to cause any problems. All it is doing is plugging up that hole so that the thermal paste has a harder time to get into there. I'm just trying to make sure that that I'm plugging up the right holes. Now, if these two holes are, I know this little one is not my hole, so I know I can plug that one up. So thermal paste time. I am going to do an even buttering spread onto this one. With having more thickness in the center. So my theory is that we're going to push down in the center as much as we can, and we want even distribution all the way out to the edges. To have it pre-spread out will just help to ensure that goal. We're going to pre-spread it out on this side, and then on the motherboard tray side we will have it be a rectangle. Oh, it's already not a rectangle, but that's fine. So thinner is better, and when we screw it all down, the force will also distribute. This stuff is kind of thick, so it does take time to distribute, so you need to have patience. If you're going to watch for it to distribute, you need to give it time to be able to move. Let's see, what other tips? Thinner is better. As thin as it can be without having air bubbles, because air is a thermal insulator. So nice and even over here. And here we're going to, it was already very thin on here. So we're just going to pack some down in the center. And this time it's a little more critical to not use too much thermal paste, because we don't have a lot of space to work with right now. So now, if too much thermal paste comes out, we will not be able to do that cleanup like we did on the masters. And thinking that way, I'm gonna take some thermal paste back. gonna eyeball this and see if it feels like this will be an even distribution without too much oozing out. All right, so this looks good. And I'm gonna set this back down. Yeah, there's no more room for cleanup now. There's very little space to do stuff here. Got some thermal paste on my fingers. Let me wipe that off. Okay. And I am using non-electrical conductive thermal paste, which makes it so that I don't have to worry too much. All right, so now I am in place. I'm now going to push to where my holes are, my screw holes, and line it up. So that feels good. And now I'm going to put pressure down the center. And I'm feeling contact. All right, that feels good. And so let's put it all back together again. Let's see, what is first? Tail light. Let's plug in the tail light. Tail light is in. Display, we can do that later. The display needs to come up this way. This will be here. This over there. I got my 3 cables over here. Okay, so display comes over here. I need to put in these 2 long washers go on the front over here with the long screws. So long screw, and then long washer, and put it in the hole and hold it. Then the next long screw, next long washer, slip that under the screw, come on, and then put this screw in the hole. There we go. All right, let's screw those in. Don't screw it in tight all the way. I screw a little bit, then I move to the next one, then I screw a little bit, come back. This is just barely tight right now. Now we need to reconnect the display cable. So slide this whole thing in to these pins. There we go. So that is on. Make sure that these little washer thingies are over the case properly. Here's the battery one. Maybe I want this on the outside this time. No, it's fine. It fits better when it goes on inside. All right, let's plug in. We don't need to get to any more screws, so we can plug this in. And that way, okay, so this battery pack is plugged in, and that way I can push this washer in where it should be. And then I'll plug in this battery pack over here. Oh, are you guys able to see? Come a little bit closer. Plug in this battery. Okay, do I have my tail light? I think I did. Okay. And then make sure that this washer's in and that these cables are laying flat, because remember that other thing is going to come down on top of it and squish it. That is most important for this one over here. This guy is real chunky. So I probably should have fixed him up before I put everything else together, because now he's kind of a pain in the butt too. But he needs to be super flat in here like this. So squish him in there. And then make sure that that is all lined up. Get your other little screw, and that little screw goes in here to secure this cable. Okay, there we go. Now, the last thing we have to do is reconnect the main cable. Main cable, it might spark on you. It's not a big deal, and I don't think it'll hurt. Or maybe it will. I don't know, but there. Easy enough. Squish this down again. This time, I'm not going to squish it underneath. I'm just going to squish it right there. That's all it needs to be, and that way it's easier to get back out again later. All right, so I think we're ready to put this back on. Oh, let's test it. Let me see. I don't think. All right. Turn off. Goes this way. And the plastic tray on top. You'll see better if you're a little bit further now. This is all easy stuff. Yeah. All right, so last thing to do is to put this piece on.